Good morning, folks. Glad you are here with us. I invite you to go ahead and share this out as Bree has just shared it out so that others may join. You can also, like it, hate it, laugh at it.
Please don't hate it.
You can be angry at it.
Sometimes people make angry responses, and I feel like I need to go back through and see at what moment they were angry, so that I know how offended to be.
Yeah.
and
Usually,
then I just never do. Yeah. So if you ever are angry, you're gonna have to put it in the comments.
That's right. Specifically, why you're angry. I think I've seen people be angry because the sound wasn't working for some reason, or
somebody once said, "I didn't mean to hit the angry."
Yeah,
that happens as well.
Yeah, sound working okay this morning, folks? So while we're waiting for others to join us,
we would hear about it by now if it wasn't. Man,
I don't know.
Itchy today. Something happens, we go on, and I'm just itchy, and I'm very conscious of like.
Is that a
doing?
You think you're maybe?
I'm allergic to live stream.
Or sitting next to me.
There is that. There's also usually a cat right here and a cat right here.
Beth, you're starting early. Wow.
I love Beth. She says, "Yup."
You guys are going to be really good friends when this is all done.
Hey, you did ask me anything. You really opened the door.
I know. All right. So, as folks are coming in, as you're sharing this out, we will get there. We're not doing questions quite yet. Okay, we got a couple things to get through. First, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the hacks of life, which I'm already told today by my fact checker is completely wrong.
That's all right. It is not encouraging you to drink Lysol or inject it into your bloodstream. So
can I just say I never thought I would have to say to folks, please don't inject yourselves with household chemicals, cleaners, or anything that has not been specifically prescribed by a doctor. Also, do not drink it. It will not clean your lungs. Do not inhale none of that stuff. Don't.
We are not doctors, but even we know that that's stupid.
Yes. So anyway, life hacks. Here you go. April 24th, 2020. The numbers on a toaster are the amount of minutes you want to toast for, not the degree of toastiness. My whole life has been a sham. It says. That is actually wrong. Bree did some research.
So a guy tested this, and the number on the toaster thank you, Amy, only corresponded to the minutes of toastiness in one of the 4 toasters he tested. And I've learned, so you learn something every day. Most toasters are too cheap to have a timer. So they have a little piece of metal inside that bends as it heats up, and the dial just tells the toaster how far to let that bend before it pops up. So there you go.
All right. So the Daily Extra today is a match game that I will show you briefly here, but then I'll post in the comments later because you can't really read it. But it is, can you match the 1980s blockbusters with their female leads?
I bet you can.
I already have, just glancing. But the female leads for the movies E.T., Return of the Jedi, Batman, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Ghostbusters.
I bet most people could do this if you just read the 5 answers, but we'll post it later.
We'll post it. We'll see who wins, and when you win nothing. Bragging rights that nobody really.
You're not around about. Anybody, so it's hard to brag.
All right.
We love you.
We do.
Are we gonna pray today?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
I know it's a different day. We're doing everything weird. Mostly your fault.
Right. So as you've gotten here, please like us. Please share us out.
Please like us.
This is Pastor Mike. Pastor Mike and Pastor Bree present Fun with Faith on this Friday. Are you pointing? All right.
Sorry.
I thought you were fist bumping.
No, sorry. Is it Fun with Faith? It used to be up there. Now it's down.
It's Friday, April 24th, 2020, and today is a very special Ask Me/Us Anything episode.
Do you know what else AMA stands for?
American Medical Association.
Against medical advice, which I feel is very apropos today.
It is. It is. But we're gonna ask me or anything. Us anything. And we're gonna get there. We already have one question that came in from somebody yesterday
And
that we're going to do, and then there are others coming in that we'll do. But before we do that, we have a very special musical guest this morning.
I don't know who it is.
Bri doesn't know who it is.
He wouldn't tell me.
And yeah, so I hope you enjoy this.
It's not Lin-Manuel Miranda.
It is not Lin-Manuel Miranda. It is not Lin-Manuel Miranda. So we're gonna bring this guest on.
Silly goose. Whenever you're ready. Little light of mine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Put it under a bushel. Won't let anyone blow it out. This little light. Let it shine, let it shine.
So
when did you do that?
This morning. We had some fun this morning, Bailey and I.
Oh, that was adorable.
Yeah.
I like the interpretive dance. I liked how she ended up with two lights because light multiplies.
Yes.
Light breeds light. She had a little trouble finding your key.
Yes, that was also the fourth take. I think I will show you the other three later on. But
Thank you for that.
was Braylee singing This Little Light of Mine. She had some fun with us this morning. And yeah,
all about the fun with faith.
Yeah. So I'm gonna invite Bri to open us with a word of prayer, and then we'll get into our questions. So you can start putting your questions up. Real quick, no, this isn't yesterday's show, Dad. And Donna, are you tonight? I have no idea what that means, but probably. So go ahead.
I hope it's not a response to Brett's please don't infringe on my constitutional right to drink bleach. And then Donna said, are you tonight? So Brett, please don't drink bleach tonight.
So go ahead and comment your questions. Bri's going to pray and we will get going.
All righty. God, we do thank you for bringing us through another night. We thank you for the sun. We thank you for the light that you shine into our hearts. We ask your blessing upon us as we come together in this virtual community. May we know real love and real encouragement today. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. All right. So
Are we starting with questions?
We're starting with questions.
Okay.
What did you want to do?
Are we doing any show and tell?
No.
Okay.
Those are special episodes.
Okay. I didn't know if we had to kill time. It's all right. You got a question.
We'll see if questions come in. If questions don't come in, then we'll do show and tell.
Okay.
All right. So I got a question from my friend Scott Brody. He commented on the ad from yesterday about doing this. So I don't know if he's watching now or he'll watch later. But Scott asked concerning Matthew chapter 6 verse 5. Which says, "And wherever you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and at the street corners, so that they may be seen by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward. But whenever you pray, go into your home and shut the door, and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you." And he had a multi-pronged question, which was, is this Jesus opposing public prayer? Or is Jesus opposing the hypocrites using prayer as kind of a manipulative tool? And then I think the meat of his question was, should there be led prayer in school? So I'm going to try and answer these, at least for me, quick and easy. Opposing public prayer? No, that's not Jesus opposing public prayer. It is Jesus opposing hypocrites using prayer as a tool of manipulation to draw attention to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And should there be led prayer in school? I don't know if we've talked about this at Doubt on Tap or not, Scott, but I for one, am not for led prayer in school. Not because I don't think prayer belongs there, not because I don't think God has a place there, but because there are so many people from so many different and diverse backgrounds that it gets very easy to show favoritism, and I don't think that should happen.
Well, and we have a vested interest in teaching our kids about the faith.
Sure.
And even under the umbrella of Christianity, there's a lot of theology, there's a lot of beliefs and ways of viewing the world that we don't agree with. And so it is important for us as parents to be able to shape our children's faith. And I don't want somebody at their school deciding this is what we're going to teach them about faith. This is the specific version of prayer that they're going to see.
Right.
When I was in high school, I had a group of students, and we actually would meet 2 or 3 mornings a week in the hallway. About 10 minutes before the first bell, we would meet and pray, because that was important to us and because we had a common faith. And to me, that absolutely, there's a place for that in school. That's very different than a teacher standing up front and offering a specific prayer.
And I want to be clear, like, I have no problem if there is a specific religion class that teaches world religion.
Yeah.
That equally distributes amongst the faiths and allows people to learn and understand culture and religion. But not teachers saying you have to pray and you have to pray the way I pray.
Yeah.
That's pushing it.
Yeah.
But, and I want to be clear, no one has ever said that kids can't pray in school. It's just that teachers, faculty, staff cannot make that part of the
can't force
it. So,
which I think is a good thing. So,
all right,
got some more questions.
Got some more questions here.
What is your favorite emoji, Mike?
So what is, are you, I guess we'll go with both of us.
Favorite or what we use most often?
If it's most often, I use it auto generates when I do like LOL. It auto generates the guy with the laughing really hard, so hard he's crying. I use that a lot.
That's one of my favorites because I tend to use that like when something really amuses me.
Uh-huh.
The one that I use most often, I think, is the smiley face. That's just like the little rosy cheeks, not the boring smiley face,
right,
but like the little, it's a one step happier smiley face.
Yeah.
We do also use the chocolate soft serve emoji in our family quite a bit, which is interpreted as other brown substances,
Uh-huh.
and I think I'm just gonna leave that there.
All right. Yeah, lots of other emojis.
Oh, I do
I
also
used.
like the face that's sideways.
Yep.
It's like the laughing face, but it's sideways.
Yep. I do thumbs up a bit too. But
Mhm.
that's about it. What is your favorite song to sing in church? What's your favorite song to sing in church?
Whatever one we're singing, usually. I like upbeat songs.
Mhm.
So I like songs that move. And my favorite, it's not so much a song, but in our church, we have a choir loft behind the pulpit. And the choir doesn't always sit in the choir loft behind the pulpit, but I love it when the choir sits behind the pulpit and we're singing any song and like they go into harmony right behind me while I'm singing. It just gives me goosebumps
Mhm.
every time. Like that is my favorite. And I feel for the rest of the congregation, because the choir either sits right behind me or they sit in the front pews. And there's a part of the service where I go down and sit in one of the front pews. So like when the choir gets up to sing, they're right in my face. And then when we're singing the closing hymn, they're right there. And I feel bad for the rest of the congregation because the choir is always aimed at me. It's like I get a front row seat. But
It,
I love
it
harmony. I love parts.
it's weird that you say that because when I'm standing in church and I hear the harmony of the choir behind me, I get goosebumps too because there
There's
is
no
no choir
choir.
there, and so it's kind of like creepy goosebumps.
I do. If you want to go specific songs, so I am a sucker for like Silent Night by Candlelight.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh,
Those,
Holy Night's a big one for me. I like Oh
yeah,
Holy Night.
those songs that have a lot of emotion.
Anything I can really belt out well that I'm
Anything that I
familiar
feel like
with.
I'm going to keep singing for the whole rest of the week, which I like to put those as sort of the last hymn of the service. So you go out carrying a happy song with you. So.
Mm. All right, we have one from Sherry Porter. Hi, Sherry. I love that we get to interact a little bit like this now these
Hi,
days.
Sherry.
So Sherry's question, she says, Bri, I love your sweater. Knit or crochet, and can you stand and show the rest of it?
Yes, I'll answer first and then I'll stand. So this was actually a sweater that I made for my Halloween costume last year.
Mm-hmm.
It is based on Molly Weasley's sweater in the Harry Potter movies. Molly Weasley knits and crochets a lot, and she has a sweater with these fabulous sleeves. And hers are a little different than mine. I think hers are knit. Mine are crocheted. The sweater itself, I did not make. It is knit. It is a sweater that was in a box in the basement, and the mice got into it. And so it had holes in the sleeves. And I went, well, this is a perfect sweater to cut the sleeves off of. and make new sleeves. And so these sleeves are crocheted based on, some people have patterns out there, and there was a lot of trial and error. But we love Molly Weasley because she's very much, there's always room at her house for more people, which is why I thought rainbows was
Except
just a
right
fun
now,
thing
there
to
is
do.
no more room at our house for more people.
No, there is not. So I will stand up. So the body of the sweater is just a sweater that was commercially made, and then I cut the sleeves off.
It's like bell bottoms.
It's
Only
yeah, it's
the
bell
bell bottom.
sleeves. It's fun. It is a lot of fun. Although I wore it to work one day and we were like putting mailings together, and these sleeves are not conducive to putting mailings together. You're not.
We don't let her wear it at dinner either.
Yeah. So thank you.
All right. Other questions? Not seeing them.
Your dad wants to know how we met. I think your dad knows how we met. But other people might be curious.
All right. So how did you two meet? Now this is difficult and convoluted because I was in the relationship a good 6 months before Bri was. But we actually
you were in the relationship like years before. Now
that's super creepy.
It is a little bit, which you acknowledged when you told me that.
Yeah.
Now we're making it really weird.
Yeah. So Bri and I were actually in high school together, freshman and sophomore year.
Sort of.
We were in the same high school.
Yes.
She was well on her way to being valedictorian. I was well on my way to being lucky if I graduated. And then we went our separate ways. I moved across the river to a different school.
Graduated from the rival school.
Yes.
But he also got some Jesus in the process.
Found Jesus in that time. And years later, she's away at finishing up her first master's degree. I'm working as a youth pastor in town. I meet her stepdad, and we become BFFs. Sorry, Corey. And I end up eating dinner at the house 3-4 nights a week with him and Bri's mom, who also was my pre-kindergarten teacher.
Who recognized him 20 years later.
Yeah,
which
it
is
was pretty
funny.
cool. And so I was kind of adopted into the family before I even knew Bri was part of the package.
Because my mom had remarried, and so
yeah.
she had a different last name. And even though like Mike figured out that she used to be Mrs. Peters, he did not connect that to me.
Yeah. So Phil, her stepdad, knows she's moving back, and asks me, hires me, actually to unload her moving van. He says to me, and this is a quote, "You can make some money and meet the most eligible bachelorette in town." To which I responded, "I need the money."
Yeah.
I was not so interested in the bachelorette piece, but then I saw it was Bri, and the reality is a sophomore year I had a crush on Bri from afar.
Yes.
Very much different sides of the tracks. I was the boy her parents warned her about. Yeah, so
well, and Mike had this big crisis of faith because at that point in his life, he was a part of a theological tradition that had some pretty specific ideas about what women can and can't do in ministry. And he knew I had just graduated from seminary.
Mm-hmm.
I was taking another year to go to school, but my plan was to become a pastor. And he had this because he had like the feelings, and he kind of wanted to ask me on the dates, but he wasn't sure if it would be okay with God because I was going to be a pastor and women aren't supposed to preach or teach in church. And so
I've come a long way, folks.
One Sunday morning, he finished, like, he was a youth pastor at a different church, and he left early and came and snuck into the back of the church where I was preaching that Sunday and listened to me preach and kind of went, well, if God did that and then doesn't want her to use it, God's kind of an idiot.
Yep.
And that was a big turning point for him. There's a much longer story about how long it took him to work up the courage to actually ask me out. There's pie involved. Yes.
Blowing a couple paychecks on pie.
So. But I will say within about after our first official date, we both went home knowing that we were going to get married. We were engaged within 2 weeks. Our families did not know that.
Yep.
We did go ring shopping, and it was about 2 months from our first date to when I actually had the ring on my finger. And we were married.
I actually journaled throughout that time. So when we eventually get to reading the journals, you'll see that.
Yes.
That was really about it. But I was figuring out the relationship thing a lot longer than she was. There's also a version of the story. She denies it, but at one point, she said to me she didn't think that I would be interested in her because I was like a big rock star in her eyes. Now, I may have dreamed it. I probably did, but I still think she said it.
He did. He had a band.
I had a band.
You did have a band. You were up on
I was
like
super
stages
cool rock star
doing
guy.
Things and yeah. Okay. Well, you had a band.
I had a band, and I had like jeans with cool rips in them. And a leather vest.
Still
I still have a leather vest. All right. Brett Davis, The Office, great TV show or greatest TV show?
Depends what kind of a mood you're in. I would say great. I don't know if I would say greatest just because Mike and I, our go-to TV show when we're like, we don't know what to watch. We need to watch something else. We watch How I Met Your Mother a lot, which drives my mother-in-law bonkers because we watch it so much. And she said she doesn't think it's that funny, but every time she ends up sitting down and watching it, she laughs and laughs and laughs. So, but Mike is funny because he says it's like I have friends because we really know the characters and the inside jokes.
And every once in a while, I just got to check in with my buddies.
Yeah, it's goofy, light, I guess, for the most.
Well, I've been a Neil Patrick Harris fan from way back. Like Doogie Howser was my jam. So, all right,
that is one that we go to quite often.
Let's see. What plans are talked about to increase church membership?
Yeah. Right now, not a lot.
Right now, we're asking you to like and share.
Yeah.
is what we're doing.
I think, well, there's a lot of different levels to that question, and I'm not sure I'm going to answer it quite the right way. I think in our conversations, there's a lot of pieces to that. Part of that is that the world is just not the way that it used to be 50 years ago. Part of that, a big part of that Mike and I talk about often is if you look at how people end up in churches, it's usually because somebody invited them. And that somebody's usually not the pastor.
Mm-mm.
It is a neighbor, it is a friend, and it may be, our church is having community dinner. Why don't you, like, that's sort of an easy way in to get people in and start making connections. There's lots of different schools of thought about increasing church membership. I'm not sure that hanging flyers on doors works. I'm not sure that sort of cold calls works. I don't like it when people show up at my door and say, "Do you know about Jesus?" I really don't like it when we say, my husband and I are actually both pastors, and they say, "Well, are you sure you know about Jesus?" All right, thank you. I also think that people know if we only want them to join the church to help the budget. Like, people have a sense about that. And so the way that you grow a church is by investing in your community, is by genuinely caring about people, which is one thing that I think I'm going to brag on our churches right now. Our churches do well. Mm-hmm. First hosts a lot of community things that aren't necessarily, I could be going to all of those and giving a spiel, but I think the witness and the relationships are more important, that this is a church that cares about the community. Yeah. I think of St. Matthew's community dinners. I think of Cherry Hill had a great, it's a shame it rained this year, but the Halloween event.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was
about awesome. Being visible and making connections in the community. Things like that build relationships with your neighbors. Start the process so that when people are looking for a church or when people are in a crisis, we see this a lot in Galt Village. When something happens in the community, somebody immediately says, "Well, have you talked to Pastor Mike about it?" Whether they're a member of St. Matthew's or not, yeah. There's this idea that St. Matthew's will do something. They're a part of the church. That doesn't always translate to butts in pews on Sunday morning. But it's ministry, and ministry. You can't put the cart before the horse.
And here's,
as it were.
Here's my perspective is this: nowhere are we told that we need to grow up the church, that we need to have butts and seats. In Scripture, we're told we need to make disciples.
Yeah,
and that at its most basic is building relationship, having relationship with people, genuinely caring about people.
Yeah.
Which is why when we're not on Corona lockdown, you're not going to find me sitting in the typical pastor study. I'm going to be at the Bomber. I'm going to be at the coffee shop. I'm going to be out and about in the community, talking to people, building relationship. Mm-hmm. Not so, and not even so that people are going to put their butts in the seats and their money in the tray. But so that people have can see the light of Christ in me. I can see the light of Christ in them. We can build each other up. We can have relationship. We're there for each other, and Christ is there with us. And so that's really the goal. And eventually, that may translate to butts and seats. But that's not always the goal. Yeah. It shouldn't be.
And that's not just, that's something Mike in particular does really, really well. But again, I come back to, it's not just pastors.
Right. It's everybody.
How are the church members loving and caring for folks in the community? Because those are the bridges, those are the relationships that will lead to relationships with the church.
If you walk into the church and the only person who greets you is the pastor, If you walk into a church and that's the kind of vibe you get, you're probably not coming back. It's just the way that is.
Yeah.
Build relationships with people outside of a building.
Yeah.
Then it's much easier for them to come into the building and take part in that greater community together. But thanks for the question, Beth. Really good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Are you participating in the sidewalk pictures in Galt Village? We Braley did some
Not formally.
a
Our
week ago.
kids have done some sidewalk chalk pictures, and every so often I see there's people in Orlando who are doing really, really good ones that are like based around like Elsa, like the Kingdom of Isolation, and it looks like I'm the queen, and Moana, and I'm not going to go very far, and I just think those are really funny. But the kids have kind of claimed the sidewalk chalk. They are planning tonight to go out and do some sidewalk art in the parking lot.
Yes, tonight is Pie It Forward. Little Caesar's Pizza Truck is going to be in the church parking lot from 4 to 8, and the kids they don't want they did pizza emojis for social distancing marks last time, and they don't want to be that elaborate again.
Kayla said my fingers got so tired because sidewalk chalk's it's a hard medium to work with.
So we're probably just going to do some X's or something, but they'll probably do some other art.
They do want to do some pizzas up around the truck. Yeah, that's what I've heard from the kids.
So thank you for that question. And we got a question from Amy. Amy says, how important do you feel interfaith relationships in building up communities at large? Interfaith relationships are hugely important for communities and for the world. We have way too much fear, way too much of this not understanding of each other.
Us and them, and me versus you, and which is part of. Sorry. Well, it's part of, because when you talk about church membership, there are a lot of Christians who will talk about, you have to go and save or convert people. And absolutely, we believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ. We believe that that's life-giving. But we're not the kind of pastors who are going to go to our Jewish friends or Muslim friends or Buddhist friends and say, you're idiots and you're going to hell and you're horrible people. That's not a healthy relationship. And I'm not sure that that's what Jesus would do.
That's no.
But if we look for common ground, if we love and respect one another, that looks a lot more like building the kingdom.
And there is a huge lack of understanding. I cannot count how many times I've seen this on Facebook, and it drives me nuts every single time. And I'm sorry if one of my church members or one of your church members has posted this, and you feel like I'm calling you out on it. But one of my huge pet peeves is when somebody posts shares the link, the thing that says, God is my only God. I'll never praise Allah or whatever. This idea, it is a huge lack of understanding, because Allah is the Arabic word for God. That's all it is. Christians who speak Arabic, when they say God, they say Allah. So what you're really communicating, at least from what I can determine contextually, is disparaging comments about the God of another. When in reality, we're dealing with, if you're specifically referencing Islam, the God of Islam is the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and the God of Judaism is the God of Abraham and Isaac. And sorry, God of Islam is Abraham, Ishmael. The God of Judaism is the God of Abraham and Isaac. The God of Christianity is the God of Abraham and Isaac. Understanding how those things interconnect, not going simply based on the geopolitical terrorism 24 Jack Bauer kind of ideas of what Islam is.
That's a dated reference.
I know.
We're getting
is important. I have wonderful friends who are Jewish, who are Muslim, who are Hindu, who are Buddhist, who are atheist, and it's important that we understand, have an understanding of each other. Which is why I think having a religion class in school that encompasses world religions is not a bad thing.
You get beyond the sensationalism. You get beyond. I mean, I often say I hope that people don't judge me as a Christian based on Westboro Baptist or some of the really ignorant and
Yeah.
horrible things that are done in the name of Christianity. I hope that people don't judge me as a pastor based on the multimillionaire pastors who are doing horrible things and lining their pockets. I hope that people have that much grace for me to get to know me and
Mhm.
know my faith. And so I try to have that much grace for other people and not judge them based on the rumors or what is portrayed on television or sort of the sensationalism, the fear mongering. It's always a good day when
Yeah.
you can say fear mongering, but getting to know one another. So yeah, I think building relationships are huge. And when you talk about communities, we're so much better off when we can work together for the
Mhm.
common good. When we can work together to support communities, when we can support our neighbors, no matter what our faith background is, put our faith into practice. And yeah, we can get together sometime over coffee and debate the finer points of theology because there are some pretty significant differences
There are.
between Islam and Judaism and Christianity and Buddhism and Hinduism and all of those things. But I also I'm a practical theologian. It's one of the
Mhm.
things I love about John Wesley is it's not just about what you believe, but what you
Well,
do about it.
and I
So
got
let's live out our faith. Let's put a
yeah.
lot more energy into
Yeah, yeah,
putting
yeah.
it into practice, and not as
It,
much into debating the theological
and
finer points.
and I got to tell you, we have traveled to the Holy Land, and one of the things that I look forward to most on the next time we get to go over there, because I'm being very optimistic, we're gonna get to go again. We will get to travel. Um, we're not going to be locked down forever. One of the things I look forward to most, last time we were there was a night where I just went and sat in the courtyard of the hotel with my friend Omar and drank tea. You went to bed early, but Omar and I sat and drank tea and talked. And Omar is Muslim, but we talked and we enjoyed each other. And we loved each other and just shared life. Um, One of my absolute favorite memories from Egypt was the night we hung out in the Bedouin tent and did Bedouin dancing and drank Bedouin tea and Bedouin coffee, which is not a sedative. That was the only thing they lied to me about. Not a sedative. Um, so, uh, but I was trying to talk with my new friend Saeed about faith. I wanted to understand where he was, and he's Muslim, but his point of view, this Bedouin guy who lives in the middle of nowhere, Sinai, was like, God is God. Your God, my God, same God. We're brothers. We're, and just this immense hospitality, this immense love, and you don't get that when you're afraid of people that are different or beliefs that are different.
Well,
So
you look at Jesus, that's part of what got him into trouble is that he wasn't afraid of people. He went and talked to people and interacted with people and loved people
yeah,
instead of criticizing them and focusing on what's different. We do not have the power to promise that the world will go back to what it was. I'm hoping the world becomes better than what it was.
oh for sure.
It may take time, but I do believe that that the
It's
lockdown will not
yeah.
last forever. We will travel again. There will be vaccines or treatments or safeguards that are able to make that happen. Currently, Mike and I are slated to lead a Holy Land trip in November 2021, which gives us a little time to work things out. The bishop is planning to go. There will be an opportunity to do the Egypt extension.
Yep.
Meet Saeed.
Yep.
Have some
So
Bedouin tea
excited.
in the tent.
I want to spend a week there.
So for those of you who are
Not gonna
saving,
spend a
who
week
are
there, but I'll
interested
spend a
in, I know
weekend.
it's a hard time to save right now.
Yeah. But if you can do, and we'll get information out as it comes.
That information was supposed to be finally released like the week the lockdown happened and everything changed. But the trip is still being planned.
Yep.
If for some reason it's not safe to travel yet, it will get pushed back.
But we'll figure it out.
Those relationships are huge.
So we're a little over on time, but we'll do one more question. If somebody's got a question, go ahead and type it in the comments.
Then I got to go draw flowers outside.
Yep.
for
And
the
we
walk
got to draw flowers. Yeah.
Thank you, Deb. I always lose track of what it is any given day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyone?
Nobody has a
Bueller?
That's
Bueller?
all right. This has been fun. This has been a whole range of questions and
better questions than I thought we were going to get. Well, not better, but different. I thought there were going to be
people were going to dig into your.
Yeah.
What is your deepest, darkest secret?
Right. Yeah. All right. So, all right. I'm glad. Bri did do some digging, and she found her Helen the Cat stories and some other things.
My
so
second grade masterpieces. So we will do some sharing.
So she'll do some sharing on that. I had a bit of a for a minute when I could not find my journal I started when I was 10 years old on the bookshelf, but I found it right here. Dad, you remember that, and we'll tell the story on that too. But you bought me that notebook. Made me think I was going to the store to buy a shovel to dig my own grave. But
that'll be a good story.
Yeah. So, and we'll do that'll be a separate thing. We'll probably just record it and post a video of it. But all right. No other questions. Thanks for joining us today for Fun with Faith for our first Ask Us Anything.
That was fun.
We may do that again. We do have things coming up that you should be aware of.
Well, people can. I just want to say you can also send us questions or ideas, or
anytime.
If there's something you'd love us to talk about or have a series about, or just things you're wondering about. You can send those anytime, and we will work those in, or as we're planning for the future.
Yep. You can
we're
hit us
glad
up
to do that.
Hit me up on Twitter. Hit us up on our Facebooks. You can email us at therevs2020@gmail.com. And just let us know. We're interested in tackling subjects. We're sticking with common prayer just because that's what we're doing. But we can
saves
change
us
that up
from having to decide what we're doing every day.
If you do have questions, topics, ideas, let us know. Anyway, we're going to continue Fun with Faith weekdays at 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. That's what weekdays are in this blurry day of calendars. We also have Zoom Bible study Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6:30, and it kind of occurred to me, and it probably should have earlier, but 6:30 may not be an optimal time for a lot of people. So let us know if there is a different time that works, and maybe one of those we do at 6:30, and the other one we do at 8
o'clock,
8 o'clock, or 1 in the afternoon, or something. Okay. Live stream worship will be Sunday at 9:30. So please join us for that.
I hope you get it figured out, Deb.
What happened?
Oh, she tried to get into the Bible study.
Oh, yeah.
And she couldn't get the sound to work. So
yeah. So here, Debbie, I'll try on Tuesday. I'll log in at 6:20, and we can try and work that out. Troubleshoot that. Okay. So for this week, we will for sure do Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6:30. If there's another time you think is going to work better for you and for others, let us know, because this is one of those things, folks, where especially our church folks, you don't really have an excuse, right?
It's a good question, Beth. I've had that same question since we have a choice. Why isn't church later in the morning? I think the reality is that 2 out of the 3 churches already met at 9:30, and we didn't realize this was going to be a long-term thing. The upside is you can always watch it at any time. I do know, I'm just going to speak for us, that on Sunday mornings there's definitely a let's do it. I think we would have a hard time waiting until 10:30. But those are conversations we can have with the leadership of our various churches if it feels like it'd be a good idea to push it back.
Yep.
So There's a possibility
The-
there, Beth, but if
the-
you do
there's-
sleep in, you can always watch worship later.
There's also you can this. It's really weird. You can do this a different way. Instead of sleeping in, so you can go at 10:30. You go to bed earlier the night before,
Or you stay up all night
and then go to sleep after worship.
and then go to sleep at 10:30. I
I-
mean, time is meaningless right
It
now.
really
so.
is. It really is. All right, folks.
Do you have a card for tonight?
Oh,
You
what?
already mentioned. Come eat pizza tonight.
Oh yeah, I don't have
For-
a yeah. 4 to 8 p.m. is Pie it forward.
1344 Borgstrom,
Yes.
which is in
Church
Galt
parking
Village.
lot, big orange Little Caesars pizza truck. You cannot miss it.
You actually
Um,
probably could, because there are no roads that go past the church. You
That's
have to
true.
be intentionally coming.
If
to
you're
the
driving
church.
on Ruth or Borgstrom, you can't miss it.
Yes.
Anyway, come out, join us for that. 10% of the proceeds go to help frontline workers, first responder kind of folks. And then you can pie it forward. That is, add $5 per pizza to your thing, and a pizza will be given to
Folks who are
frontline
working.
workers
Yeah.
at the hospital. So please come and take part in that. Have fun. Practice safe social distancing. Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Don't
Don't run and hug each other.
Right. Mind the marks. If you see me in my lawn chair,
Mind the
keep-
gap.
keep
That's something different.
keep 6 feet away. But I would love to talk to you. So
Maybe we need to like draw a circle around you. Put you in the lawn chair and draw a circle.
yeah, maybe. All right. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Call each other. Love each other. Pray for each other.
Hope to see you
And,
tonight, and we'll see you in worship on Sunday morning.
All right. Like
right.
us. Share us.
Love us.
God
we
bless.
need your love. Bye-bye.